So last night, you and I were watching Wrestle Talk like we normally do every now and then.
By the way, welcome to the Rated R Report, everybody.
Yeah. Well, okay, but like that works.
No, there doesn't need to be intro. Let's have this be as casual as fucking possible.
That's what.
Everybody get your burrito. Let's sit back, enjoy a meal, talk some wrestling.
Okay, but we were talking about the Asuka situation with Mandy Rose pinning her.
Oh yeah.
And you had this whole like double. What was it?
You promised to remind me about this, and
yes.
I had completely forgot. Okay, so everybody is clamoring.
Listen to this because it's actually pretty ingenious.
Everybody's clamoring about this because who the fuck is Mandy Rose to face Asuka for the championship at Fastlane? We know that's where this is going.
Yeah.
And Jerry and I watched a Wrestle Talk fucking yesterday, I think, where they brought that very fact up, and they're talking about it should be Asuka versus Sonya Deville. She's up and coming. You know, make her look good, make her shine. And I'm like, that's where they're going, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use Fastlane as a leapfrog to get there. Okay, so here's my idea. So Mandy Rose versus Asuka at Fastlane, and Asuka and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville vicariously have a double turn.
Yes.
So Asuka defeats Mandy Rose with no effort, very cleanly.
Yeah.
Takes her out, but that's not enough, and she starts beating the fuck out of her.
Yeah.
In the ring. And then Sonya Deville has to come in and get her to leave. I don't think they get physical at that point. Save it. And then that leads into Sonya Deville versus Asuka for the championship at WrestleMania. Not only going for the championship, but also getting revenge for Mandy Rose. Let's say Mandy Rose is off the TV for the first couple weeks of this.
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, she's still not cleared to wrestle, some shit. Where she's finally in the corner of Sonya Deville at Mania or some shit. And then Sonya Deville wins. And so at the end of WrestleMania, you have Becky Lynch as the Raw Women's Champion. You have Sonya Deville, who is an out lesbian female, as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And all the women go home happy right before your next Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. So that's my idea. We can expound upon that if you want, or if you had a real legit.
No, that I just wanted to get that on film. So, because I thought that was pretty ingenious. Even at like 4 o'clock in the morning, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
I do that occasionally.
Support, no DQ.
Did anybody bring a topic to the table for the Rated R Report? Or are we just going to wing this?
I think we're probably just going to wing this. I mean, we can touch on a couple different things. I mean, this is, our world. We're just living in it. But there's one thing I did want to touch on real quick. It was something that I believe it was Scott Dawson tweeted. It was Dash Wilder. It was a picture of them with the old school 1990 era World Tag Team titles.
Please,
I'm hoping for it.
Oh, God.
I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping that here soon the tag division is one. We get one tag title again, and they do it right, because the tag division is fucking shit.
Well, on Raw, not on SmackDown.
Well,
of course, SmackDown has all the best tag teams.
Well, I think what he's trying to say is like there's not really a level tag division for Raw and SmackDown.
I think if you do that though, suddenly you have more tag teams than you need.
Well, that's what happened with NXTea UK if you think about it, because they didn't really have any tag teams, so all of a sudden Mustache Brown was like, hey, we're gonna have tag titles, and July C's like, we are. Okay.
All right.
They need to do something with the tag team division on Raw, because the hot potato bullshit that's going on is fucking insane. I'm happy that the Revival is finally tag champs, but for how long? And there's no relevance to it anymore. There's no importance to it anymore. Honestly, it's the worst title in WWE right now is the Raw Tag Team Championships, and that's underneath all the UK titles, everything, to me, in my opinion. It's a hot potato filler garbage title anymore, and it used to be prestigious, and I honestly am so over it, just them throwing anyone and everyone with that title. How many teams have been Raw Tag Team Champions since August?
Oh, Lord.
Up until a few weeks ago, I probably would have agreed with that, but I counter your argument with the United States Championship right now.
Oh, Lord.
Just saying.
I was about to say, like, not too long ago, I even said Eric Bugenhagen. I could actually see as a U.S. champion, but I can't see him as an NXT champion. How fucked up is that?
We haven't even seen a mid-card title. Yeah, we haven't even seen a mid-card title on NXT UK, and I still feel like that's a more prestigious title than the United States Championship right now.
And I'm so tired of looking at those tag titles, too. They're just so fucking hideous.
I like them. I like them better with the black strap, but I like them.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the black strap with
and
the silver
bronze,
is better than the copper, but I hate the colored straps. It's just, I'm over it. I'm over just the hot potato action with it. That's why I can't take it seriously. I'd rather, and the same thing with the U.S. title, I agree. It's just a hot potato between, it's a stalemate title. Honestly, you get it, you're obviously going nowhere.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a hot potato title, but they never do anything with it. Like, Nakamura had it for months, and we only saw him a handful of times in between.
Yeah, they don't do anything with it, and then it's either they don't do anything with it, or it's boom, boom, boom.
So what's worse? Not doing anything with the United States Championship, or the bullshit crap that they've done with the Raw Tag Team titles? What's worse? Because at least the Raw Tag Team titles get on the television show at least every other show.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that point. I agree with you.
It may be the B team fucking holding an in-ring barbecue where nothing was barbecued, but at least it's being on the show, you know? I feel like sometimes the title is more than just a prop. I feel like as a kid that grew up originally thinking wrestling was real and then having to be proved otherwise.
Yeah, same here.
As much as people say, well, the championship is just a prop, I feel like I have more emotional investment in any of the championships than I do most of the wrestlers. Because they have led the storylines that they have been in since the time of their inception. You know, when there's a champion, the storyline is usually around somebody wanting that title.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a big deal.
But it's like the U.S. title, like I said, that's just gone downhill. Like I said, I mean, think about it, it's got a long history, and like a lot of great names held the title. Then in the 90s, you got to think in the late 90s when it belonged to WCW still, that was like hot potato. People were getting stripped of the title, get the title, strip the title, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they played hot potato. Then they brought it back. They tried to elevate it with Benoit and Guerrero and William Booker T and different names like that, bigger star names, trying to elevate the title. And then it just seemed like it went downhill, and John Cena tried to bring it back up, but he couldn't hold the U.S. title forever. He had other cues he needed to do. Like you said, they tried to elevate it, and it just seems like it goes downhill again.
I feel like looking at this more in a childlike manner, because as a kid, I never cared about a title being quote-unquote a hot potato. To me, it made sense because it's the championship, be it mid-card or main event or whatever. It's the championship, and everybody should want it. So there should be a possibility that it changes hands a lot.
Yeah.
And then you have titles like the Hardcore Championship, where eventually the rules pretty much led to it being changed a lot.
Yeah.
Multiple times in the same pay-per-view kind of shit. But it's what it is. And I still have that emotional attachment to the belt. I don't care that the champion only held it for so long. I don't care about that for the belt and my emotional investment in the belt. I only care about that when it's a superstar.
Yeah.
Like, I care that Johnny Gargano only held the North American Championship for 3.5 weeks as far as television goes.
Yeah, I know. That's why I get mad about it, too. It's because it doesn't give...
But it doesn't affect how I feel about the title at all. Yeah. The title is so prestigious that so many people want it that it changes hands a lot. Makes sense to me.
All right, so kind of on the same subject as the tag belts and everything. Do we think that the Revival and the Usos were both given the tag titles because of the whole All Elite Wrestling thing? Like,
make them happy.
Or do we think that Vince is actually just playing this up to a point where he's actually using All Elite Wrestling to kind of boost ratings?
Well, I was gonna say absolutely, but you hit me with the or.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely to what? They're absolutely doing this to keep these guys around.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that they inked contracts shortly before getting the titles.
Yeah.
Because Vince is like, we'll give you the titles. They're like, okay.
Yeah. I was about to say, a pay raise and titles, like, will keep you there, but at the same time, like, you have to wonder if they're just feeling creatively stagnant on these shows as well, and that's what I think was driving a lot of people away, is the fact that they don't really want the extra money. They want, like Ty Dillinger, he wants TV time.
This creative stagnance leads to what some of these changes have evolved into, where it actually seems like they are giving the audience what they want to see in a roundabout way. And I feel like the goal is to do that in almost 100%. I feel like their goal is to do that all around. It just takes time. They don't want to just suddenly be completely different. They want to weave it into stories and shit. That's why Brock Lesnar still hasn't lost the title, because the best place to do it is Mania.
Pretty much.
Even though they should have done it with Finn Balor, I believe.
But by pretty much by trying to give the fans what they want, they have to give them something that they don't want first to make them want it even more.
Thus taking Becky Lynch out of the title picture for Mania.
Yes.
Makes you want it even more, and then when they give it back to you, then...
You're all that more grateful.
And they weave it into the storyline where Becky Lynch earns it. So she continues to earn her way to WrestleMania, and it's the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30. 5 years later, she has to earn and work and scratch and claw her way into the main event, and then fucking beat Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
Not beat Charlotte Flair and then Ronda Rousey loses the title because it's a triple threat. Beat Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I
but
said...
see, you're talking about that scenario with like similar to Daniel Bryan having to get a WrestleMania 30, but if you're talking about Becky having to do a similar scenario, wouldn't it kind of make more sense at that point? Maybe they put something on there at the beginning of the show. They say, okay, well, we'll let you in, but see, you lost to Asuka at the Rumble, so let's see if you can end up beating her and try to beat her for her title first. If you beat her, then you can get in the main event and make it for both the titles.
Well, the whole point for me of bringing that up was to show how some of this change has to happen over a longer period of time. When it comes to the tag team championships, do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what they did. They're like, okay, well, we want to keep these guys. Plus, we're pretty sure it's going to make the audience happy. That's a bonus. So probably absolutely to both your questions. They did it for both. Yeah. But more so, I think they want to make sure that the Usos especially put pen to paper. And kind of they want to do it with the Revival, but I think for the Revival it's more that they want to keep them from going to AEW, because they feel like that would be a significant gain for AEW from WWE, because it's so public.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so public how the WWE has treated the Revival and the disdain that most of the smart wrestling fans have for that, let alone how you imagine those two must feel coming from NXT where they were treated properly into this. So yeah, fucking put the belts on them. Get them to ink the paper and keep them around just long enough that AEW doesn't necessarily have an opportunity to gain momentum from gaining them off of the back of WWE.
Yeah. So, speaking of NXT, we saw the call-up, or the showcase, more or less, this past week of Ricochet, Aleister Black, and DIY. If and when they do get the call-up, where do you want to see them actually put at? Like, if going by current roster, what we have for Raw and SmackDown, where would you want to see, like, these superstars put into? Like, me, I want to see Aleister Black, like, face, like, a Finn Balor. I want to see Aleister Black go heel, and we have, like, Aleister Black as a heel versus the demon Finn Balor.
Not unless Balor gets drafted to SmackDown, or Andrade Cien Almas gets drafted to Raw, because I'm pretty sure you're going to see Aleister Black go to whatever brand Zelina Vega's on.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like sometimes you can nitpick, but you can kind of tell where WWE and maybe just their HR department or who the fuck ever, they seem to have a heart sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, perfect example, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn always end up on the same brand. These two aren't married or nothing. They're just best friends.
No, they might as well be. They're such the great frenemies. Like, you have to watch some of their older matches in Ring of Honor when he was El Generico. Oh my god, they're just brutal. Like, as good as they were as a tag team together, they were even better in the matches against each other. So... But yeah, that's one of those situations where it's always good to have those two in the same scenario, kind of like they're going to probably be doing with DIY.
So, Colin, where do you think everybody's going?
All right, well, if there's no long-term plans for WWE to keep Gargano and Ciampa together as a tag team, then I see, if there's no plans, I would like to see Black and Ciampa head to SmackDown, and I would like Ricochet and Gargano to stay on Raw. But if they're going to keep them as a tag team, I would like Gargano and Ciampa to stay on Raw, and Ricochet and Blacks to go to the SmackDown.
Seems perfect. I like the second scenario better.
Yeah.
I feel like Gargano and Ciampa could significantly improve the Raw tag team division.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least give it a killer feud after they split up.
I think Ricochet has a better chance of getting into the WWE Championship picture on SmackDown than on Raw.
Can you imagine?
Or even a U.S. picture, you know, something.
Can you imagine him versus AJ at this point?
Wow.
Or even Ricochet versus Mysterio would be awesome.
Well, I'm sure we have a
Yeah,
shakeup
good,
coming
yeah.
soon, so most of this speculation doesn't even matter
Mm-hmm.
because anybody could move anywhere, especially in the landscape that
With
they're
the
setting now, where like there's one set of McMahon family authority that runs everything. Like Vince McMahon can show up on SmackDown and Shane McMahon can show up on Raw. So I feel like it's a moot point. But if they were to be called up, let's say right before WrestleMania, and usually we get the shake-up after the pay-per-view after Mania.
Yeah.
So we've got another, what, 2.5 months?
It used to be after Backlash.
But it's actually the Raw the week after Mania this year. It's been announced already. So,
Yeah.
So we've got maybe 2 months.
yes.
So, fuck, man, I don't know. I don't know where everybody goes.
And that's just the shakeup. We don't know what's going to happen the night after Mania. We don't know. So we don't know who else will pop up. So I mean,
Honestly,
I guess we'll see, in about 2 months.
What I'm
I
hoping
mean,
this,
they could all debut after Mania.
well, what I'm hoping this is not a prequel to them debuting. I'm hoping this is a precedent where just sometimes you can see an NXT or even an NXT UK person show up on Raw or SmackDown to have a match.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Have a lower card talent from the main roster. I don't want to say main roster. I don't like that term. From Raw or SmackDown show up on NXT or NXT UK.
The lesser brands, as I'm calling them, Raw and SmackDown.
I just hope that they keep better continuity with the characters as they stand in NXT and in NXT UK.
That's where I think they're messing up right now with Ciampa and Gargano. But because these people that haven't been exposed to him in any way, shape, or form are thinking, oh man, these guys are great buddies. No.
they're not.
It's like if you've been keeping track of NXT for the past, I don't know, 3 years.
Okay, I both agree and disagree with that because I think a lot of that comes from we watched Wrestle Talk about this last night.
Well, yeah, but even then, that was already something that was swimming around in my head about that.
Well, true, but I think I agree with it if you go from being a casual WWE viewer watching Raw or SmackDown to wanting to watch NXT and see what Ciampa Gargano are all about. Doesn't make sense. But
Yes.
continuity-wise, the other way around, it kind of works. As an NXT fan, watching them on Raw and watching them on SmackDown, I'm like, after getting forced into being a tag team on the 3-on-3 for the halftime heat, I could see them being willing to, at the very least, for the sake of the competition, for winning these tag team matches, just going with the flow. Especially Gargano as he is, where he's this split character. Half of him is this babyface superhero, and half of him is this heel super villain.
I think he's gonna go full on super villain after that loss. So
What bothers me about that, though, is they kind of portrayed Ciampa and Gargano as the baby faces in both of these vignettes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So if they can do a better job of keeping the continuity in both directions, because like I said, this kind of works in one direction but not the other. If they can do that, then I'm hoping that this is just a precedent, and someday we'll see Shayna Baszler or Io Shirai or any number of the women, especially the women. I think that maybe Nina Samuels showing up on Raw or SmackDown and having a match, even if she loses, it's going to do something for me watching her in NXT UK. Something.
yeah,
At this point, they're not really doing anything.
no,
I mean, she's attractive. She comes out there wearing basically sports bra and sports panties and then a full body see-through onesie.
yep.
It's very attractive. When she starts wrestling, I'm just like, what? Why? But if she showed up on SmackDown and had a match with Becky Lynch, even if she lost, I'd be on board. I'd be like, okay. Especially if she does a good showing and against somebody on the main roster, not like a Carmella, more like Charlotte Flair or a Asuka, somebody that can bring a good match out of her.
Lacey Evans.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. She hasn't even picked a brand yet. So what about what? Did everybody go? Where do you think they're going to end up?
Well, I want to see Aleister Black on SmackDown, definitely. Ricochet, it's just tough because Ricochet is such a hybrid wrestler. You know, he can do the high flying stuff, but then he can also do the mat wrestling as well. He hasn't even broken out with the Spanish Fly yet on TV, so that's going to be interesting to watch. That and I'm also getting him and Jordan Devlin mixed up too, because Jordan Devlin is just the Spanish Flies off the fly too. But DIY definitely on Raw because they do need help with their tag teams.
And let's not forget they are in IRL best friends.
Yeah.
They're going to get the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens treatment. They're going to stay on the same brand.
Yep.
If for no other reason, then you can always revert back to that Ciampa Gargano feud.
Mm-hmm. Which are always good.
What about Dream and Cole?
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. No.
We're not there yet. What about you, Chris? Where do you think they're going?
I'd like to see Aleister Black go to SmackDown, definitely. I would rather have Ricochet on Raw because I like to see him feud with Finn Balor. I think that'd be a good feud.
They can still have it after Mania, though.
Yep.
But then if you keep DIY together, then you put them all definitely on Raw because they need to try to build that tag division up. But if you separate them, I would rather see Gargano on SmackDown and Ciampa on Raw. That's how I would think. But we're still talking about before you said you want to keep them both together. They'd look like the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, where one goes, the other goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I would do it. I'd keep Gargano on SmackDown, and then I would put Ciampa on Raw.
Gargano versus Styles would be damn good too, I think.
Now here's a proposition for you. Pete Dunne.
Ooh.
Does he go to either of them? I say you send Pete Dunne to 205 Live. I think Pete Dunne's the one, once he ends his reign as UK champion, I think he's the one to legitimize the 205 Live brand. I
think he's going to do what hasn't been done in quite some time, which is almost bring, as bad of a word as this is, a Chris Benoit type character to either Raw or SmackDown. Somebody that's got that technical prowess and that aggression to him that's sorely missing, I think. So, yeah.
There's still time for that. There's still time for that. He's so young. Take him to 205 Live. Let him legitimize the brand. Win that championship. Then take him to NXT. Let him win that championship. Then bring him up to Raw and SmackDown. He's like, what, bitches? I've won the championships in all of these other brands. He was the NXT UK champion for fucking 2 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to come to SmackDown and when he's 28.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, late 20s. And that's young for a wrestler. Most wrestlers, good ones, I think, are in their early to mid 30s, even late 30s. These guys are so young. There's so much time for that. that I believe take him to 205 Live, let him legitimize that title. Because Buddy Murphy is doing a good job of it on his own, but we all, I think, can agree Buddy Murphy's probably like 215 pounds. But I think him versus Pete Dunne at WrestleMania or some shit, you know, like...
that would make Noah Foster extremely happy.
No, it would piss him off because it'd still end up on the pre-show.
Right. Somehow. No, I mean, it'd be cool seeing the Bruiserweight versus the Juggernaut, but I don't know. I don't see him on 205 Live brand for some reason. I just don't.
Where do you see Pete Dunne going?
I mean, he had a decent ovation on Raw, but I think SmackDown would be a good fit for Pete Dunne.
Smaller guy makes sense. What about you, Chris?
I would think it'd be more interesting if, like I said, when he loses the UK title, he moves up to 205. Like I said, he has a feud with Buddy Murphy, wins that title. While he's that champion, he goes both 205 Live and NXT. Maybe ends up winning either the North American Championship or even winning an NXT title. Then he goes up to either Raw or SmackDown saying, well, look, right now I'm the Cruiserweight champion, I'm the NXT champion. I'm conquering everything. Now it's time for me to conquer this
don't lose
brand.
the NXT UK title. Just go to 205 Live and beat Buddy
Win that
Murphy.
one too.
Just beat Buddy Murphy
shit.
at WrestleMania.
That would be cool. They have like a champion versus champion title versus title match.
Oh, and it'd still end up on the pre-show. Oh, it would still end up on. It'd be called by Lita and JBL and Booker T. Oh.
Yeah.
So,
that would be sick though for Pete Dunne to have one belt in his mouth and then the other one he would just other one like.
no, two belts.
No, dude, he
Size them
does
so they
both
can snap together,
Yep.
and it just hangs down past his feet.
He's done 3.
Nice.
I've seen the pictures.
Telling you,
one
that's
hangs
why
this
he
way,
wears
one hangs
the-
this way, and one straight down.
Oh, yeah, good idea. I'm telling you though, that's why he wears the
Mouth guard.
Mouth
Yeah.
guard.
Yeah.
Straight this the enamel.
I've
Keeps
keep down
everything in
my
there.
belt, and the metal part in the mouth, don't put that part in, just do the leather part.
It's like
Done it.
it's like the worst jerky ever.
Yeah.
Where do you
Much.
where do you send Pete Dunne, Jerry?
I'm in agreement now with you guys. I like to see him on like I won't say lesser brands, but like the we'll go ahead and say developmental brands of like for Raw and SmackDown. I want to see him dominate down there first, and then just if anything, pop up on like Raw or SmackDown with the belts, just to show that like he is the king down there, and he's going to be the king up there relatively soon. So. But if I had to choose one show for him to go to, it would definitely be SmackDown.
So, my vision is he's the one to dethrone Ciampa before Ciampa gets called up with Gargano, and that you play out in a storyline over 4 or 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh, that'd be insane for him just to like drop the belt in the UK.
No, doesn't drop the belt.
Oh,
He just shows up, challenges him, championship for championship. Make it a big NXT takeover thing, and then
NXT versus NXT.
and then
Yeah.
when it comes to 205 Live, he just shows up on a random episode of 205 Live, challenges Buddy Murphy. This is going to try and get people to watch random episodes of 205 Live.
yeah.
Give you a reason. Something actually happened. It ended up being a championship versus championships, plural,
Yeah.
match.
Oh, that'd be insane.
Or if you don't want to go that far, you just have Pete Dunne challenge for the 205 Live belt and win. And he's got 3 titles. And just let him have that for a little while.
You need 3 belts.
Well, that's the thing though. I could actually see him having like the one title, the NXT title in his mouth, but then have the other 2 belts. Like so, where he does this, he's got both belts in his hands, and he's got one in his mouth.
Or go Bubba Ray Dudley style around the neck.
Oh, that'd be insane too.
Any other topics, fellas?
There is one thing I would really like to touch on. Vince McMahon tweeted out earlier today and WWE broke it as well, that Reigns is going to be showing up this coming Monday on Raw to address his medical condition with leukemia.
Oh, because you couldn't get it this week on the No DQ review. Just wait a couple of days, and the Rated R review provides it for us. Great fucking topic.
Yes.
That is super timely. Came out just today.
Yes.
Well, since you brought it up, what are your thoughts about it, Colin?
I'm very interested to see what it could be. It could be anything, honestly, from very good news to very bad news. We don't know. It could be he's, hey, I've done radiation, I've done chemo, I've done the blood tests, I kicked its ass, I'm ready to come back, and somehow he gets his way into the main event at WrestleMania. Or it's like a turn for the worst. Hey, I have to, I can't continue to wrestle anymore. Or could it, literally just be a ratings pop, a general, hey, this is how things are going, because no one's really heard too much from him since everything, besides him being at like the Georgia game or something like that, really, or filming Fast or Hobbs and whatever it is with The Rock and stuff. But besides that, there's really been no update. So it's probably for a ratings thing, we don't know, but I'm very intrigued on it because, cancer is one of those real life situations where it's not a fun thing, is coming from someone who deals with, my mom, for example, is stage 4 cancer. So it's a touchy thing, and it's just, you don't know what to expect. So I'm either way, very intrigued to see what happens. I mean, I wish the man all the best, so I'm hoping for the best. But
cancer is one of those things where suddenly your status and your amount of money and everything else doesn't matter.
Doesn't mean shit.
You could be the wealthiest person in the world and cancer still beats you. And this is the second time he's had leukemia, and apparently the odds of surviving the second time around significantly dropped from the first.
Yep.
And I don't think the odds were all that great in the first place. But I think this is good news, because just there's a part in my head that thinks that there is no possible way WWE is going to bring Roman Reigns out to announce bad news. Because when you're talking about something like cancer, it's blood cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he would be coming out and announcing his death to the crowd and to millions of people watching live at home. I don't think they're going to do that.
Nope.
This has got to be either at least good news or neutral news that they, like you said, are using for a ratings pop. There's no way he's going to come out and say cancer is beating me.
But see, here's the interesting thing. He's from Pensacola, Florida, where I live at. And here's the interesting thing. When it first broke that happened, he had made his announcement. They had news reports about it and everything, and they were having updates, leaks about every 2 or 3 weeks. They were having updates about it and talking about his progress and everything like that. And in the last month and a half or so, they haven't been saying anything on the news, because normally they have some little thing on the news, or they have something in the newspaper or something like that. The first 2 or 3 months this was going on, and then all of a sudden it stopped. And I haven't heard anything in the last couple of months about it, either on the news or newspaper or anything. So I'm kind of wondering if something is going on, but like I said, I agree with you. I don't see him coming out there saying horrible news, or he's taking a turn for worse, something like that. I mean, does this mean he's going to come back and say he's been cleared? I mean, we don't know. We'll have to wait till Monday. But I saw a post, something that Virtue put on his page, talking about like he's doing action movies with The Rock and he's doing stunt stuff like that. He can't be as sick as he's thinking he is.
Well, I believe, this may be me talking out of my ass, but I would think that leukemia is one of those things that either you beat it or you don't. And if he beats it, I would think that he's an athlete. He would end up coming back. So either, like I said, this is either neutral news, like everything's coming along well, nothing's going bad, we look like we're going to beat the leukemia kind of thing, or I'm beating the leukemia and I'm coming back and it's only a matter of time before you see me wrestle again. It's one or the other. Because if he was going to say that, even this can't even be a retirement speech. Because if you're going to retire from leukemia, you're basically telling everybody you're about to die. So I don't see anything but either slightly better than neutral up to very good news coming out of this. Up to him returning at Mania. What about you, Jerry?
I see it being neutral. I see him saying, like, progress is going well, and he'll be back in the. He'll hopefully be back in the ring soon. He's training and like doing whatever he can do.
That word, hopefully. Okay.
Yeah, but
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Lesnar's music hits. Paul Heyman comes out and cuts a promo against.
You're saying he's ready.
Yes. I'm saying he cuts a promo, and that's going to bring out Rollins, and that's going to like add more heat to a Rollins Lesnar match coming out.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if Brock Lesnar comes? No Rollins this week. Something happens early on. Rollins isn't.
Or he
could you imagine
yeah.
Brock Lesnar comes out and F5s fucking Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring.
Exactly.
How much fire does that put on the Seth Rollins versus
that falls under your stunt thing where he's like, yes, he's probably physically able to at least
stunts so you can take a bump.
Yes, he could take an F5, and then from there, like, you know, have the EMTs run out, have, like, you know, announcers all freaking, have the announcers freaking all the fuck out. Just even have Paul Heyman, like, over on the sidelines.
I'm going to quote Paul Heyman because if they're smart at all, that is probably a spoiler.
Yes.
I'm probably going to be not shocked at all when that shit happens. And I'm going to be like, fuck Jerry. His goddamn couch booking. In this case, fold-out chair booking.
Yep.
Oh, that would be so good.
That'd be such a great payoff and get people reinvigorated about this whole, like, Rollins and Lesnar feud going into WrestleMania, especially if Rollins is not there. So, yeah.
Oh, man. Not there to save him, but he's definitely going to be at WrestleMania to get revenge for his fallen Shield brother.
Mm-hmm. Smart television is what that is.
And if you...
Maybe, I don't know if you're watching WWE.
maybe it's taking it too far, but for WWE it seems appropriate considering where things are going. You don't have Rollins there, but you do have Dean Ambrose there.
Yeah.
And you redeem Dean Ambrose, and after Roman takes the F5, Dean Ambrose comes out and he takes an F5.
Or multiple German suplexes.
He gets his ass beat, but at least he came out to stand up for Roman Reigns.
Yeah. That's how you actually, like, move Dean Ambrose a little bit too, especially if for some reason
if he resigns.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's how you get him to resign. I think.
Well, no, I'm saying it'll help, like, with the fuckery of what's going on with the whole Rollins situation. Yeah. It'll still keep that lingering even more. Okay, what the hell's going on?
If Dean Ambrose is on his way out the door, there's no reason to keep him a heel anymore.
No.
You can do whatever you want with him as long as he's okay with it because it's live TV. I mean, you can edit it or try to.
As long as he's making money at this point.
He can say whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah. He knows he's on his way out. So, use him right, and this would be a perfect use for him. It would just add fuel to the fire. You could even save that for the week after.
Yeah.
Or the week after where Seth Rollins isn't there, but Dean Ambrose... No. You do it right afterwards. Dean Ambrose comes out and he takes a few F5s too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do it at the same time.
Just chaos.
Because he turned on Seth Rollins the night that Roman Reigns announced the cancer. Mm-hmm. He's got to turn babyface fully the night that Roman Reigns gets taken out by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's got to be somebody out in WWE watching this. Otherwise, they are not doing their goddamn job. Jerry, that was genius.
No.
Because the second he got those words out, that, like, it was like, I'll be back in the ring soon. Like, sure enough, like, Lesnar's music just hits, and you see Paul Heyman just marching down to the ring.
So now we talked about this earlier. Becky Lynch, making it to Mania, defeating Ronda Rousey, possibly even Rousey cutting her contract short and deciding to have a baby.
Yeah.
And so Mania could very well be Ronda Rousey's last show, which makes sense because Mania to Mania, we've seen a lot of contracts go that way. Mm-hmm. Goldberg's did. That sucked. But Becky Lynch wins the Raw Women's Championship. She is the man. She is on top of the world. The most popular wrestler, male or female, in WWE. Where does she go from there? She's already fought her way past all of the authority to get into the Mania match and win. Fucking let the authority go from that point. We don't need follow-up from this. Where does Becky go from there?
Becky,
I think.
Oh, go on.
But I think maybe maybe after that, where it ends up Charlotte, like I said, Charlotte's in that, they become triple threat. Charlotte doesn't get the title. She ends up trying to move over to Raw, or when they do that shakeup, she moves over to Raw. They continue their feud for a little bit, and she chases Becky. Or they go revisit the story with Nia Jax, where Nia Jax is the one that broke Becky's face. They fought for the match in the first place in the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it, Chris. That's the perfect place to go, at least initially.
Yeah.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Nia Jax is kind of a jabroni.
Yeah.
She's just a really heavy
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
She's in a higher weight class, but jabroni nonetheless. Colin, where does Becky go?
Chris hit the hammer on the nail on this one. Like, revisit that feud, and then once that feud's over, hopefully we have like Shayna Baszler on the main roster.
Yep.
And
Yes.
we see Shayna sticking up for her friend Ronda, and Four Horsewomen versus Four Horsewomen, and then maybe down the road this leads to the Four Horsewomen versus Four Horsewomen match. After Ronda has her baby and takes a little time, comes back as a one-off.
Pretty much have her come back around the same time WrestleMania of next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even Survivor Series, or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's pushing it. 9 months to give birth, and then 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's if you get pregnant right at WrestleMania time.
So yeah, I was thinking leaning more towards like Survivor Series 2020, maybe.
Drops the belt and drops the egg.
Yeah, every time you drop the ball on knocking a chick up, you got to wait another month.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crude way of saying it. I'll admit that.
That's what I'm saying. Like Survivor Series 2020, give them enough time.
Yes, Survivor Series, the perfect place for an even more traditional than
Survivor Series match.
4-on-4 match. I like the 5-on-5. I liked it until it became like the entirety of Survivor Series and everything was a 5-on-5. I liked it better when there was like 2 of those, but then you might have a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4 or regular fucking matches, And it's not
The one time of year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head in one-on-one.
Well, with SmackDown going to Fox, they're probably going to be dwindling down the brand split too. So hopefully by then we won't have to worry about Raw versus SmackDown.
Well, the whole thing about Fox wanting SmackDown to be an independent brand from Raw because it's on different channels, that's all rumor. Like, my guess is Fox is more worried about ratings than they are about exclusivity, something like that. One of those words. My guess is ratings mean money. Exclusivity does not necessarily mean money. It might register into better ratings, but at the same time, being able to share top stars, and here's the thing: when you only shuffle up the rosters once a year, it lends to stale creativity because you're dealing with a very limited pool of people.
Yeah.
But if they can move across brands, so I'm not saying get rid of the brand split, but loosen it greatly, and just respect it, but still have it loose. I'm still not a fan of combining titles. But I do think that the women's tag team championships does need to be dual branded or multi-branded because of the number, just the sheer number or lack thereof of female talent lends you to, and when you have it being tag titles, it limits you even more because now you have to pair people up. So you completely cut in half your roster because now they're teams.
Yeah.
And if you do that with the entire roster, now you don't have singles wrestlers to vie for the title, which is what we saw with Asuka for fucking Elimination Chamber. There was nobody free. Nobody credible, at least. everybody's tied up with something, so she got to sit that one out, which fucking sucks.
Here's the thing, though, too. You know, like I said, right now the way they have the women's tag titles, it seems like it's sort of like the undisputed title in 2002, where the champion defended on Raw and SmackDown. Now it looks like what they're doing is they're going to have them defend the tag titles either on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. Is the way they're making it appear to me is how they're going to do that. But, I mean, I would say if you keep one set of women's tag titles on Raw, SmackDown, like I said, neither one of the rosters, if you got to pair everybody up, you don't have enough depth right now on both Raw and SmackDown when you got the singles titles. But I would keep that one title and let them just do that, like they did the Undisputed title, go to Raw or SmackDown to defend them. But then the NXT brand, they need to have their own set of women tag titles, I would say. But then you still run into that issue. You don't have so many women that you could really legitimately have an NXT women tag titles, I don't believe, at this time.
Well, I think Sasha and Bayley set a precedent, or at least Bayley did in her promo on Raw, that she said they were going to defend those titles on on NXT. She said multiple brands. I don't know if she said I don't remember if she said NXT directly, but she insinuated that it wouldn't just be Raw and SmackDown. So
She did Raw, SmackDown, NXT.
I guess that was their way of creating the rules for the tag team belts, was to put it on the baby faces that would want to defend it on all the brands. And so there you go. You don't have to make it official or anything. You just, that's what they're going to do. There's only one set, so what are you going to do? Jerry, where does Becky Lynch go after Mania?
Well, like, he is to Shayna Baszler naturally, which I'm all for that. But I'm also for Ripley too. Ripley, like, all of a sudden Becky Lynch is out there just talking in the ring, and all of a sudden you see that static come up on the Titantron, and like Ripley's music start up. That would be the shit. So the fans in the know would go nuts naturally, but these other people would be like, "Who the hell?" But then they would look at her, they're like, "Oh, shit, who's this?"
So, Chris, do you have a topic of discussion for us?
Yeah, since we're bringing up Survivor Series, you know, how they do Raw versus SmackDown, now that we have two brands where we have NXT and NXT UK, could you see it where at War Games they do it where they do NXT versus NXT UK stars, like I said, a main event being 4-on-4 War Games match with NXT versus NXT UK stars?
Absolutely.
That's highly possible at this point, especially with the depth of both rosters at this point.
Well, they've already set a precedence with Worlds Collide. And I think we're just going to see more of that leading all the way up until Survivor Series. And then, we'll see a War Games match with 4 NXT guys versus 4 NXT UK guys. It's brilliant. Makes all the sense in the world. Which 4? Colin, which 4 from each brand?
Okay, so current roster right now.
Yes.
I would like to see the Coffee Brothers. It's 2.
Okay.
Walter.
Yes.
And let's see. Since Pete Dunne's still on the brand, I would say Pete Dunne, since he's, the man in charge. And then from NXT current roster, War Raiders. I'd like to see them, come back and do a War Games match again. And then I'd probably have to go with DIY.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Jerry?
Whew. It's tough because, like with that, we have to have enough of a build up for it to actually make it like that much better. That, and I would try not to incorporate anybody that's already been in the War Games match. So War Raiders for me would kind of be out of it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind seeing the Street Profits in there.
Oh, so you're going mid-card War Games, okay.
Yeah, or by that time they could be tag champions. It's highly possible.
They still feel mid-card to me. I mean, comfortably, brilliantly mid-card, but mid-card nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
Montez Ford can be main event by himself.
Yeah. So
let's put it that way.
Well, NXT UK wise, I would naturally have probably ring comp in there.
Well, wait, finish your NXT. You got the Street Profits.
I'm looking at both sides at this point.
All
That way, kind of even it out a little bit better. But I would have Walter, Eichner, and Bartel, like naturally, because that's almost like an army in itself.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'd probably, as much as I hate to say it, I probably would throw Pete Dunne in there.
Oh. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah. Who are you going to say?
With that trio, I would have put Jordan Devlin in there.
Oh, Devlin would be an awesome fit as well. But actually, yeah, I'm going to change it to Devlin. And
You're welcome.
Thank you. But then I'd also have, I'd have Street Profits in there, which would be like an awesome combination against Bartel and Eichner right there. Ooh. God, possibly Ricochet if he's still down there. And Keith Lee.
You stole mine. I'm gonna let Chris go. I'm gonna let Chris go last since it was his idea. So I was gonna go
right.
Keith
On
Lee.
the NXT side, I would do Undisputed Era. I put all 4 of them in there. Then I would go with NXT UK. I'll go Wolfgang. And then, oh God, this is a little bit tougher than I thought now I think about it. Same answer. I put Devlin in there for sure.
Yep.
And then I would go Walter, but then again I would have to see Pete Dunne in there too. I said that'd be a good strong 4-man right there, in my opinion. There.
Against the Undisputed Era, I would rather see Gallus add somebody to the group leading up and to where it's naturally not just thrown into it, you know.
It'd be Gallus and Devlin.
I want to see a four-member faction of Gallus and then them feud against the Undisputed Era as the best 4-man faction.
Oh, that would be really great.
But for me, for NXT, I want to go Keith Lee because I think he's the biggest guy in NXT right now. Oh well, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakoff.
Yes.
Dijakovic. I should stop calling him that really because I really dig him anyway. So those two, and I would like to. I got to agree with Colin. I want to see the War Raiders in there again, just because they were in it last year, but not the year before.
That's a lot of big guys on one team.
And last year we did see the Undisputed Era, come back.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see somebody in there that knows what they're doing. And so for NXT UK, I got to go with Mastiff. I got to go with Jordan Devlin. So we got to go heels here. Oh well, no, one's a heel, one's a tweener.
Yep.
So we could go heels. So a reluctant tag team. So we've got Mastiff, Devlin, Eddie Dennis, and Walter.
Damn.
Completely thrown together for the only purpose of this is brand supremacy for them. They want to show that they are better than NXT by all means possible. So they're going to go with the biggest and the baddest, and in the case of Jordan Devlin, got to be the baddest because he's definitely not the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my pick, and we've got about 10 minutes left. So anybody have a main event topic, or should I throw something together?
Not offhand, honestly.
Okay, so let's end with the main event of talking about AEW. Because there's a couple of names that have been floating around as possible signees for AEW, and let's break it down and face facts. They've got several big signings, and they've got several middle of the road signings, but they do not, in any capacity right now, have enough wrestlers to start a weekly promotion.
Right.
So they need to fill out the middle card, they need to fill out the lower card, and they need several more main eventers to get people watching initially, to get hooked on the product. Because think about NXT UK and the fact that they had the benefit of NXT happening for nearly a decade beforehand. So they knew how to break into this.
Mm-hmm.
And it still took us, 20 episodes to finally start getting really emotionally invested in this product and being entertained on a constant basis. I remember for the first 10 or 12 episodes, there'd be several episodes even. 10 to 15 episodes. There'd be several episodes, even 2 in a row, where it's just like, this was shit. Thank God for the double episodes at a time. So it'd be like, thank God for the first episode, or thank God for the second episode, because the other one wasn't fucking shit. So they had the benefit of knowing how to do this without necessarily needing huge names. AEW is going to need some big names. But where do you draw the line? Because I've heard rumors of Goldberg. And I'm like, is this really what they need?
No.
So
It's not 2000 anymore.
free agents right now, we're not talking about guys that might leave WWE. Who does AEW need to fill out the main event? So let's say 3 to 5 guys.
Okay.
Let's start with Chris.
Oh Lord, guys are creative.
Chris is like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
There's tons of them, man. Think WWE legends even. Guys that can only put on one match every 3 months.
Batista.
Boom! Out the box.
Yeah.
That was a single batter home run or whatever the fuck they call it.
He still would make a difference. Like I said, his movie schedule, he could, like I said, he could do a match or two here and there. Oh Lord, who else would be? If I say that's not under contract right now. Jesus, that's a good one. Cause I'm
Well,
not
let's
even
just
really-
go around the horn. Can
Yeah.
you think of one right now, Colin?
Dude, I'm really stumped. Like, yeah, Batista was a good.
Everybody's getting signed up.
I know, like, I'm just trying to think, like, who's, like, free agent-wise right now, and, like, who would be worth legend-wise to come back for, I mean, they have Jericho already. Let's see, I mean, maybe, Sting's done. He's done.
Seth Rollins killed him.
Yeah, that buckle bomb.
I have the perfect one.
Let's hear it. I honestly don't know. If I think of something here.
Are you guys ready for a duh moment? CM Punk.
Mine!
You
I
can
don't
have
bring
AJ
him up
Lee.
anymore just because I don't ever expect him to be in a ring again.
I wouldn't even want him in the ring. Like if even if he's just on color commentary and and possibly does even a match it like maybe like once every blue moon.
Wouldn't need to, but
he wouldn't need to.
if
But
it came
commentary alone, he was beautiful in that.
Did Jim Ross didn't sign with them, did he?
yeah, he's going. Well,
Yeah.
he's not. I don't think he's out of contract yet, but he is. The rumor is heavy, and it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's almost a guarantee that he is going to be.
JR and CM
affiliated.
Punk as an announced team would be insane.
That would be great. That would be awesome.
AJ
I-
Lee, though, I mean, that's way more realistic. AJ Lee,
Yeah, AJ's possible.
absolute for the women's division. That would be the best thing.
That's something they should really need to build at this point.
Whatever happened to Mr. Kennedy? Whatever happened to him?
That
there you go.
would be another one that I was thinking about was Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
My fear is that his only real achievements were in TNA, and who really cared at that point?
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, he's very injury prone too. Is like that's the other thing. Because anytime he actually did get something going, he always found a way of getting injured.
If we're talking mid card, I would go Crimson.
I saw him not too long ago
Oh,
at
yeah, I
OPW.
remember that dude. Yeah.
He's still in Ohio Valley Wrestling. I saw him a couple months ago.
There were several members of Aces and Eights that need to get signed up.
Wes Briscoe.
Oh, just the Briscoe brothers. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Wes Briscoe. Yeah, he was always good.
Bring a Garrett Bischoff there if we're talking about members from H's and Eights.
What about
Yeah.
the Briscoe brothers?
Oh, the Briscoes from ROH. Yes, I would love to see them in there.
I guess they're signed.
Especially since you have
So,
what's that?
would any like? All right, so, you said from Ring of Honor, the Briscoes.
Yeah.
If we're going to go that route, I would love to see the Kingdom.
Oh, the Kingdom would be pretty awesome too.
Like, I love what Matt Taven's doing these days. And that Ring of Honor World title with the purple strap looks banging.
Yes.
If you're going to do a purple title, do it like that, WWE.
If the circumstances of his departure from TNA are a work, then I would say Austin Aries. If that was Austin Aries,
awesome.
if that was all Austin Aries, then fuck no, keep him out of your promotion because that's cancer.
Yep.
But if that was a work, then oh yeah, absolutely, Austin Aries. I don't know if I'd make him the title collector or anything like that. I would like to see Austin Aries on commentary, personally.
Oh,
I enjoyed him on commentary.
He did a great job when he was doing it on Raw.
The greatest man that ever lived.
See, how much time do we have left? About 3 minutes.
Yeah, but what legends would you want to bring in? 'Cause you always got to have like one or two legends that you have. Besides, you have Jericho is pretty much considered a legend. What legend would you bring in?
Hall and Nash, not to wrestle, just to promote somebody else, help build up other people. We need some talkers though, some people that can come in as managers / advocates or fucking whatever.
I would bring Taz. I would try to bring Taz as some type of manager.
Yes.
Or something.
I'm about to say, I know it's a long shot, but I would try to get somebody like a Jim Cornette because he's opposed against this style of wrestling. He'd be the nastiest heel manager there.
Oh, like have him talking about all the Southern styles and all everything in wrestling.
No, yes. Make Jim Cornette the GM of Tuesday Night Dynamite. So
I can actually see him say Tuesday Night Dynamite.
No, you know what? That's something WWE would do. Fuck that. Never mind. Let's pretend I didn't say that.
Yeah. Or even I don't know if I don't remember if he's been signed or anything, but even for like a commentary behind the scenes segment or even like an in-ring thing like how Michael Cole used to do, bring back Joey Styles for that if you don't have a lot of commentary.
Styles.
That's a good one.
DDP.
Yeah.
And we can still go that DDP yoga, man. I'm thinking about starting to do that shit myself.
They call it just DDPY.
Yeah, right. Sorry, that's my bad. DDPY.
Yep.
I saw him on Joe Rogan and I realized that's my faux pas. It's not DDPY because apparently DDPY is quite different from traditional yoga. A lot of people go into it thinking that they're going to do some yoga shit and it's not the same.
No.
Any others?
What about Mick Foley? Is he still under WWE contract in any way, Mick Foley?
I imagine he might be under a Legends contract.
He's probably like under a Legend ambassador type thing, kind of like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But he can still go because we're talking about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. They've got to be under Legends contracts too.
Did I read something about X-Pac not wanting to re-sign his Legends contract?
Maybe that's why he's going into the Hall of Fame with DX.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe even X-Pac.
Well, that doesn't necessarily matter because you've got Billy Gunn, who is going to be a producer in AEW. He's about to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, please don't go too rough on us on Tuesday nights. Hey, sabotage that AEW. Here's your ring,
right,
sir. Let me put that on your finger.
It's like they should put a ring on it.
I feel like there's a lot of potential in old WCW guys. Like maybe Vampiro. I don't think he's in ring shape anymore, but just guys that really didn't break out in WWE. They broke out in WCW just for a little bit of a different flavor and to kind of stir the pot with the idea that it's the new WCW versus WWF war.
Yeah.
Bagwell.
I'm tired of seeing Buff Bagwell, but if you want to see
Bagwell.
I was about to say, how about Judy?
She's probably dead by now.
Support, no DQ.
So my phone has informed me that it is now time to wrap up the Rated R report. Do we do plugs for this? I don't think we do plugs for this.
No plugs.
No plugs. Just remember to go to
watch our other videos.
Yeah, watch our videos and then subscribe to our channel and go to nodq.com/shirts where you can get a Stefan Osborne, the Wizard of No DQ shirt. It's orange. It's awesome. Other than that, let's just
like it over here, subscribe it over here.
Oh yeah, definitely like the video down there, subscribe down there, And look up Aftermatch Wrestling and subscribe there and help us get to 100 so we can do some live videos. Well, obviously, you're on Aftermatch Wrestling. This is exclusive.